It's time to take a quick time update of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meeting. And we have Interim County Manager Larry Werner with us. I'm Lloyd Higuera. And first, we're going to look at the August 7th meeting of Commissioners. We're also going to be checking in on the meeting of the 21st. But at the August 7th meeting, Commissioners introduced an ordinance prohibiting medical marijuana establishments here in Douglas County.
Right, yeah, based on a lot of public testimony that they received around the county, it was determined that Douglas County did not need to have medical marijuana establishments. So the ordinance was introduced and adopted. It'll be up for second reading on September 4th.
Okay. And also, Commissioners moved ahead with an ordinance to define an indoor gun range as a permitted use here in Douglas County.
Right, and the problem there, Lloyd, was that the fact that an indoor gun range was not defined in our zoning code. So this essentially puts it into the code, sets up the parameters by which it could be permitted, and again, there was introduced on first reading at the 7th meeting, and will be adopted on second reading at the September 4th meeting.
Okay, so once that's approved, we can look forward to somebody applying for an indoor gun range.
Yes, right.
I see, okay. Commissioners approved an ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation water bonds in the amount of $1.5 million to finance water projects. What project is involved there?
And this is a follow-up to several months ago. There was a presentation about what was needed at the Sierra Country Estates water system to get it into compliance with a state order. And this starts the process to be able to issue bonds to start those capital improvements.
Okay. And Commissioners also introduced an ordinance amending Douglas County Code. This was to allow solar photovoltaic facility here in the county.
Very similar to the indoor gun range. There's a lot of interest in the solar photovoltaic, but there wasn't a particular category to put them in, so this creates the zoning categories and as a primary use, and then a special use permit process that if somebody wants to apply for solar panels of a large scale, then this permits that to happen.
It was also discussed that a lot of ranchers might be interested in that type of facility on their land that maybe isn't being that productive.
Right, it added as a permitted use into most of the agricultural zones, I think the forest and recreation and public facilities, so it covered most of those that are the non-small residential zones. And again, it sets up the special use permit process, which can determine boundaries and reflectivity and coverage and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it does allow it to happen.
Well, that was a quick update on the meeting of the 7th. Now we'll take a look at August 21st meeting. And water was the big topic of discussion on that agenda. Commissioners continued their discussion on consolidation of the county-owned water systems at Lake Tahoe and setting rates. So where'd that conversation go?
It basically put it to the point that we as staff did an evaluation of what it actually costs to operate each independent water system and then developed a set of rates that would fund that particular cost, as opposed to trying to combine them all into one water rate that covered all three systems, the Zeawood, Zephyr Cove Water Utility District, Skyland, and the Cave Rock Upaway water system. So all the approaches before we'd used with a consolidation of actual rates had some cross subsidies where people of one system were subsidizing people of another system. This would eliminate that. We'd shorten it from a 5-year projection to a 2-year, and then said we'd come back in 2 years once we get this established and then try to sort out each system at that time. So it's basically to get it to the point where it's paying for its cost today.
Okay, so we'll be hearing more about this one.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioners approved 2 resolutions declaring an emergency due to a severe weather event and flooding on July 20th and August 6th.
Right. This stems from the fact on the July 20th when we met, there was damage, but again, we have to meet a certain threshold countywide, statewide, to access any of the emergency management funding. And the July 20th by itself did not. And then we had the August 6th one occur. And then right after that was the August 11th. And the August 11th we actually did the declaration. And then we went back to pick up the other 2 because now the combined effort of all, or the combined impact of all 3 storms may get us closer to the threshold. I still don't think we're going to get there, but that's up to the State Department of Emergency Management and their damage assessment to make that determination. And that threshold is basically based on public infrastructure damage and costs there, and looking at actual residential or structural damage, for other folks. So that process is being processed now, and we should be hearing from the state here in the near future. One of the things we're trying to determine is the size of the storms. The Department of Emergency Management needs that as part of their calculation, as well as we do, to determine what were we dealing with in this event. So it kind of brings it all into a package, and hopefully if there is an opportunity, we can take advantage of it, but fingers are crossed now.
So we just have to kind of wait for the state to act.
Yes, yes.
Okay, commissioners accepted the resignation of Douglas County Clerk Treasurer Ted Thron, and they directed the county manager's office to begin accepting applications for that job. But this is kind of complicated by the fact that he is an elected official, isn't it?
Correct, right. And Ted resigned effective September 1st. Once that date goes, then we've got 30 days by law. The Board of County Commissioners has 30 days by law to appoint someone to fill Ted's unexpired term, and if they don't, then it moves to the governor's office and the governor makes the appointment. So we're trying to get a list of names out of those folks that may be interested. They can apply through our HR department up through this Friday, the 29th. Thank you. Yeah. And then we will present those candidates on the September 18th board meeting to be interviewed by the Board of County Commissioners to make an appointment for the unexpired term of Ted.
Okay. And last item from that agenda, commissioners approving a contract with the University of Nevada for a 2-year cooperative technical assistance agreement for Pavement Technology at a cost of $45,000 a year or $90,000 total.
Correct. This is based on what we're seeing on condition of the roadways around Douglas County, and it's actually occurring in other counties as well. We're seeing a lot of large cracks forming that we're not sure exactly why that's the case. The University of Nevada has a very renowned asphalt group, I guess is the best way to put it. They do a lot of research, they do a lot of technology. So we're partnering with them to come out and take a look at what we've got. They can take the materials back, sample them, and then help guide us on why this is happening, maybe how we make changes to our methods and procedures and prevent this from occurring in the future. So we think it's going to be a really good partnership.
Well, thank you, Larry. That's our quick time update of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meetings for August 7th and August 21st. I'm Lloyd Higuera for Interim County Manager Larry Werner and the quick time update.